Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and Integrity doing a Summon Skull deck profile. So I'm really excited for you guys because this deck is a really awesome deck to play because you summon out Summon Skull, one of the most nostalgic monsters in the entire game. I've changed up this deck a lot since the last time I profiled it and I'm really excited to show you guys all those changes. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed card in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Summon Skull. This card is a great 3-of in the deck that's super easy to summon to your side of the field. It has 2,500 attack points, so it's a really big boss monster that we can get on the field super easy. But this card is a key combo piece in the deck, which is why you want to play 3 copies of it. I then play 3 copies of Archfiend's Awakening. This card is a retrain of Summon Skull, but as a ritual monster, and this card is absolutely crazy. It has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with Contract with the Abyss, and this card's name becomes Summon Skull on the field, but it's still treated as an Archfiend card. It cannot be destroyed by battle except with battle with a ritual monster, and it cannot be destroyed by monster effects except those of ritual monsters. And if this ritual summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is a really awesome effect that it replaces itself with a copy of Summon Skull. I then play 3 copies of Magnamut. Magnamut is a really good 3-of in the deck because it is a level 6 monster that makes rank 6s super easy. It's also one of the best hand traps in the game right now, being a 3-of basically DD Crow, because it has the ability that you can target a light or dark monster in either player's graveyard and banish it. And if you do, special summon this card from your hand, and it's a quick effect if your opponent controls the monster. And if this card is special summoned, then you can activate this effect that during the end phase of this turn you can add a dragon monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a pretty good effect. Now the card we're usually adding off this card's effect is one of our 2 Druis Worms, which is really an awesome card as well. It has the same effect as Magnamut, that you can banish a light or a dark monster from the graveyard to special summon this card, and it's a quick effect to be able to special summon this card to your side of the field if your opponent controls a monster. But this card is a really good removal effect that if this card is sent to the field from the field to the graveyard, then you can target a special summon monster that your opponent controls and send it to the grave, which is an awesome effect for this card to have. We then play 3 of one of the best normal summons in the entire deck, and that's 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. This card is a really good 3 on the deck because when this card is normal or flip summon, you can add a ritual monster or a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, being able to get you one of your ritual spells or Archfiend's Awakening from your deck to your hand so you can summon out your really powerful ritual monster. I then play 3 copies of Witch of the Black Forest. This card is a great 3-of in the deck that has the ability, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a monster with 1,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, but you cannot activate cards or effects of cards with that name for the rest of the turn, which is a really good effect to be able to search any monster with 1,500 or less defense, especially with some of the other tech cards we're playing in this deck. I'm then playing a single copy of Yugioh. This card is a really good 1-of in the deck that can boost our Summon Skull up by just a little bit, and has the ability that during either player's damage step or battle step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it gain 1,000 life points, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, and during either player's turn, you can tribute this card and then target a face-up monster that you control, and it gains 1,000 attack points until the end of the next turn, which is a pretty good effect just to boost up one of your monsters to a really high number. I then play 2 copies of Evil Hero Adusted Gold. This card is a really good 2-of in the deck and a really insane tech card because you can discard this card to the graveyard to search out a copy of Dark Fusion or Dark Calling, which is really cool in this deck because it's a awesome polymerization because we're always going to be fusion summoning into fiend monsters, which is really good in this deck to be able to discard this card to the graveyard and be able to search out cards so that we can summon out Archfiend's Manifestation, which is really good. And I also have a really spicy tech monster in the extra deck for you guys with this card. I then play 3 copies of Crimson Resonator. This card is an awesome 3 on the deck, and I am playing Red Dragon Archfiend in the extra because it is an Archfiend monster, which is really cool. But this card is a definite 3 on the deck because it has the ability, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if the only other monster you control is exactly one Dark Dragon Synchro monster, you can special summon 2 Resonator monsters from your hand or deck, except another copy of this card. And you can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck except Dark Dragon Synchro monsters the turn you activate either of these effects, which is totally fine because with one of these cards and any level 4 monster, we can summon out Red Supernova Dragon, which is absolutely crazy. By special summoning this card to your side of the field, you can use its effect to be able to just instantly special summon it, and then normal summon any level 4 monster to your side of the field. Synchro summon for your copy of Red Rising Dragon, bring this card back to your side of the field, then use its effect to be able to special summon from our hand or our deck 2 copies of our Red Resonator, which is super cool because then you can synchro summon our 3 level 2 tuner monsters and our 1 level 6 monster into Red Supernova Dragon, which is just absolutely insane. You can summon that card in a Summon Skull deck. But our copy of Red Resonator is still a really good card because it has the ability when it's normal summon, you can special summon a 1 level 4 lower monster from our hand to our side of the field. And when this card is special summoned, you can target a face-up monster on the field and gain life points equal to its attack points, which is a really good effect. Especially the cards like Witch of the Black Forest, because when you synchro summon using this card and it touches the graveyard, you will get a search, which is really, really good. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Dark Calling. Dark Calling is a really good fusion spell that we're actually going to use to fusion summon into a really powerful tech monster that we're playing in the extra deck. So this card is a definite one of in the deck. I'm then playing 2 copies of Dark Fusion. Dark Fusion is essentially a polymerization for fiend monsters, which is really good. It lets us fusion summon a fiend fusion monster from our extra using monsters from our hand or field as fusion material, and your opponent cannot target it with card effects this turn, making it a little bit better than polymerization, which is really, really good. Especially with the copies of a Dusted Gold, you're basically playing 4 copies of this card in the deck, making it a really good 2 of. I then play 2 copies of Contract with the Abyss. This is a ritual spell that we're going to be using to summon out our Archfiend's Awakening, which is a really awesome monster. I then play 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art. We are playing Summon Skull in the deck, so you can use this card to be able to send Summon Skull from deck to graveyard to be able to summon out your copy of Archfiend's Awakening from your hand, which is a awesome effect just to instantly get Summon Skull into the grave while also getting a boss monster on your side of the field. I then play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. This is just here so that we can dig into the deck to be able to draw into more combo pieces, which is really nice. By just drawing 2 cards, all you have to do is banish a dark monster from your hand, and we're playing a bunch of dark monsters in this deck, so this card is a definite 3 of in this build. I'm then playing 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. Preparation of Rites is really good to be able to search out our copies of our ritual spells, and it's a really good effect to be able to search out our ritual monsters, because this card has the ability to add 1 level 7 or lower ritual monster from our deck to our hand. Then you can add a ritual spell from your graveyard to your hand, being able to get a used ritual spell back out of the grave, which is a really good effect. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. The extra deck, I promise you guys, is wild. So let's go ahead and get straight on into it. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Archfiend's Manifestation. This card is a really good 2-up that requires a Summon Skull plus any dark monster to make this card. It has the ability. This card's name becomes Summon Skull on the field, but it is still treated as an Archfiend card. And all Summon Skull that you control gain 500 attack points. And if this fusion summon card that you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you get to special summon 1 Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Just like your copy of Archfiend's Awakening, which is super good. The tech monster that I'm actually playing in this deck that we summon off of Dark Calling is a really awesome card and one of my favorite fusion monsters ever created. And that's going to be a single copy of Evil Hero Malicious Bane. You can summon it in the deck, which is really cool. It just takes an Evil Hero plus any level 5 or higher monster. So you can use Dark Calling plus a copy of Summon Skull that you send to the graveyard with Advanced Ritual Art to be able to summon out this card, which is really cool. It has the ability, it must be special summoned with Dark Fusion or Dark Calling, because Dark Calling can be used as Dark Fusion, and it has the ability, cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, making it a really defensive card. It also has the ability that during the main phase, you can destroy all monsters that your opponent controls with with attack less than or equal to this card's. Also, this card gains 200 attack for each monster destroyed this way. Also, you can't declare an attack for the rest of the turn except with hero monsters, which is totally fine and a fair trade-off for a board wipe of your opponent's monsters, so you can follow up with an OTK next turn. This card is a definite one-of in this build. I'm then playing a single copy of Archfiend's Call. This card is a good one-of in the deck because I wanted to play all the different summon skulls that we could in this particular deck, and this card just takes a tuner plus a non-tuner to make this card, so you can normal summon Red Resonator and get any level 4 on the field to be able to summon out this card, and this card's name becomes Summon Skull on the field, but it's still treated as an Archfiend card, and your opponent cannot target any Summon Skull that you control with card effects, and if this Synchro Summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card, you can special summon a Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or grave, which is a really good effect. I then play 2 copies of Red Rising Dragon. This card is a really good 2 of in the deck that you're usually going to Synchro Summon into first, because you're going to Synchro Summon into this card, because this card when it's summoned will let you revive one of your Resonator cards back out of the graveyard, which will let you basically Synchro climb into some really powerful cards, like your copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which is a really awesome card. This card's name is treated as Red Dragon Archfiend while on the field or in the graveyard, and once per turn you can destroy as many special summon effect monsters on the field as possible with attack less than or equal to this card's, other than this card. Then inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent for each monster destroyed, which is a pretty good effect just to do a little bit of burn damage against the opponent, while also summoning out a really cool Archfiend card. We then play a single copy of Beals. Beals is super easy to summon this deck as well because it does just take a Dark Tuner plus 1 non-effect monster to make this card. It can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Red Supernova Dragon, which is insane that you can summon this on a Summon Skull deck, but this card is really easy to summon in the deck, and it's a really powerful boss monster. It takes 3 tuners to make this card, plus a non-tuner Synchro monster, which will always be 2 of your Resonator monsters, plus a Red Rising Dragon that we're going to be using to summon out this card. It must first be Synchro Summoned, and it gains 500 attack for each tuner monster in your graveyard, which is always going to be boosted up to 5,500 because you're using 3 tuners to make this card, which is really, really good. This card is absolutely crazy, and it also has the ability it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, or when your opponent's monster declares an attack, quick effect, you can activate this effect to banish this card, and also banish all cards that your opponent controls, which is really insane that this card can just completely board wipe your opponent. It also has the ability to once per turn, during your next end phase, after this card was banished by its own effect, you special summon this banished card back to the field, which is super good. We then play a single copy of Archfiend's Ascent. This is a really good one-of in the deck as well, that has the ability this card's name becomes Summon Skull on the field, but is still treated as an Archfiend card. And if Summon Skulls you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead, which will protect your cards, which is super good. It also shares the effect just like your other Archfiend cards that count as Summon Skull. And if this card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, or by an opponent's card, you can special summon a Summon Skull from your hand, deck, or grave. I then play a single copy of Utopia Beyond, because this card can OTK the opponent, which is really nice. 1 copy of Photon Strike Bouncer, because it does negate monster effects. 1 copy of Vampire Sheridan, because this card is just really good overall in the deck as a rank 6, and we can make it super easy in this deck. 1 copy of the Dredge Dragon. This card is really good as a one-of in the deck. I really like this card as a one-of in this particular build, because it has the ability of monsters that you control gain 100 attack and defense for each card in your opponent's graveyard, and quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, target a card in your opponent's graveyard, and detach 1 or 2 materials from this card, and then apply the effect depending on the amount of materials you detach. If you detach 1, you return it back to the deck, but if you detach 2, if the target is a monster, you special summon it in face up or face down defense position, and if it's a spell or trap card, you set it to your field, which is a pretty good effect. I then play for the last card a single copy of Double A Zeus, because board wiping the field is just really good, and it's a really good one-of in the deck. This deck is super fun to be able to play, and I worked really hard on this particular build to be able to play a Red Supernova Dragon deck, and it's just so fun to be able to play this deck. So anyways guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. It's absolutely insane that you can build a Summon Skull deck. I really hope that we get support for Summon Skull in the future, because this deck is basically a bunch of tech cards, which is absolutely crazy, based around Summon Skull, which is just absolutely insane. So anyways guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later guys.